On my 7th birthday, I climbed onto the chair to blow the candles on my cake when suddenly I felt someone pull a hair out of my head. Ow! I turned around to see that it was my older sister, and she was staring at the hair in horror. Oh my God, Mom! Bonnie has inherited the problem from you! You shush! Everyone, sing the birthday song now! Happy birthday to you. What just happened? Later that night, Mom inspected my head like I had lice, and it turns out I had a few white hair. Big deal. But by my next birthday, half my head had turned white. I thought I was transforming into some cool superhero, but Mom totally freaked. She had organic hair dyes imported from Brazil every month to color my hair a lovely deep brown. No one knew anything about my hair until I was 14, when suddenly everything changed. Hi, I'm Bonnie, and I have a condition called achromatrichia, which makes your hair suddenly turn white. Being different makes bullies think you're an easy target, but I showed them that I was not. Before I continue, click like and subscribe. The thing is, my parents used to be super rich, and we'd always live in a huge mansion and attend private schools. My oldest brother was a party animal, and my older sister's life revolved around shopping, salons, and changing boyfriends like clothes. But then, Dad lost all his money in a scam, and in a matter of days, we'd moved from our beautiful house to a tiny apartment in another town. Dad became super depressed and watched TV all day, and Mom was doing her best to support us all. But my siblings could just not stop complaining. I had to share a room with my sister, and she wouldn't even let me sleep on the bed. One night, she was sobbing so loudly about how poor we were, I dragged my mattress into the bathroom and slept there. Peace at last. The one thing Mom insisted wouldn't change was sending us to a private school. I felt bad she was working so hard for us, and I really wished I could do something to help. Dad dropped us off on the first day of school, and as soon as I walked in, I felt someone pull me by my backpack. I turned around to see a pretty girl grinning at me. OMG, was that guy your dad? He's the millionaire who was all over the news for losing his fortune. So you guys are like, poor, right? Of course not. You have me confused with someone else. I tried to walk away, but she blocked me. Julia is never wrong about these things. Julia reads tabloid magazines cover to cover every day. Wait a second. Julia can see some white hair. Grandma? Everyone started staring at my hair. I was so embarrassed that I ran home to dye my hair. Thankfully, I had a big stock saved up. When I got home, I walked into our room to find my sister screaming at her empty closets. My bags! My shoes! My babies! Where are they? Just then, I saw my cupboard door hang open. Oh no! Oh my God! Where are all my hair dyes? We turned to each other. Our brother! We ran to his room and found him practically rolling in money. Turns out he'd sold all our stuff online. I wouldn't have cared if he had stolen my clothes, but I was really upset about my hair dyes. There was nothing I could even do, except vent my frustration in my journal. I started writing stories featuring my crazy family. One night, when my sister was talking to her boyfriend on the phone, she had to pee, so she asked me to take the phone and say, to everything he said till she returned. That's when I heard him talking about a website called Wattpad, where anyone could publish their stories. So I started sending in the ones I'd written about my family, under a fake name, of course. Otherwise, my siblings would kill me. To my absolute delight, people loved my stories. I was flooded with comments from fans, and I would even hear kids talking about them at school all the time. The best part, people started messaging me for paid writing jobs. This was perfect. I could actually help Mom doing something I loved. While my online popularity was rising, things weren't so great at school. My hair had turned completely white by now, and that gave Julia all the more reason to bully me. And no one dared to be friends with me because of her. But that gave me another idea. I started following her around and started writing stories about all her boyfriends. Once I saw her kissing the captain of the soccer team, right after she went on a date with the class president. And then the next day, she made out with the captain of the swim team. I was so surprised, I accidentally tripped and fell out of the bushes I was hiding in. As soon as Julia saw me, she looked furious. Are you stalking me, you pervert? No, I was just picking berries. I grabbed a fistful and stuffed them in my mouth and then gagged. They were so bitter. Julia stepped close to me. I don't know what you're playing at, but you should know I'm not into girls, you weirdo. Then she walked away while I sat in the bush, and everyone eyed me like I was a creep. The next few weeks were brutal. No matter what I did, Julia was there calling me a perv or a weirdo. She told everyone I was crushing on her. A few days later, I was sitting in the cafeteria when Julia came up and dumped a bag on me. "Take these hair dyes! You look like a homeless old woman, and this school has a reputation. Just stop embarrassing us with this hair, Bonbon!" As her minions snickered, I rose from the table and pushed the bag away and stood up to leave. "Leave me alone, Julia, or else." "Aw, I'm so scared. And what will you do, huh?" Then she and her minions took out all the dyes and dumped them on my hair. Blue, black, red, purple, everything. I pushed them back and yelled, "What have you done, you psycho?" I slapped Julia right in the face and ran to the bathroom. My hair looked like turd. I washed it and thankfully all the color came off. I was so mad that I went home and wrote a story where I gave Julia the lesson I wished she would get in real life. As soon as I published it, I received a message on my Wattpad account from a fan, ID Free Prisoner. "I love all your stories, especially the bully story, so I just had to message. Your characters are so relatable." I guess we both were stuck with crazy people. We started exchanging messages more often, and I felt like I'd finally made a friend. One day at the school cafeteria, I was writing crazy fast to meet my deadline, and I didn't even realize it when someone came and sat next to me, pushing a can of juice towards me. "Can I get you something to eat? You look like you're on a mission to save the world." I looked up, and for a few seconds, I was so lost in his dreamy blue eyes. I'm pretty sure I looked like a dumb puppy. "Hi, I'm Eric. Do I know you?" "No, but I know you. You're kind of hard to miss with that hair." "I know you think my hair is weird." "No, I think it's amazing. You look really cool." I stared at him in shock. Who was this boy? I wanted to talk to him more, but just then, I got a message from Free Prisoner. "I think I'm falling for you. You're just so incredible." Oh my god, he had a crush on me? The next day, while I was working in the library, it got really late. Everyone was gone and I only looked up when I heard a noise. I felt freaked out. Just then, I saw Eric walking towards me. "I'm beginning to think you're stalking me." Eric laughed and said, "Yeah, maybe. But also, I work here, and I was about to lock up. Want me to walk you home?" "Yes, please." Eric was so funny and adorable. He insisted on walking me home every time. I was definitely attracted to him, and it made me feel a little confused. What was I gonna do about Free Prisoner? One day, Free Prisoner asked me out on a date. I agreed. I needed to see who he really was. When I arrived at the address, my jaw dropped. It was a mansion bigger than ours used to be. I was greeted at the front door by a butler, who then led me to a large drawing room. And there were lit candles and flowers everywhere. At the far end was a high chair, and when someone suddenly spoke, "I've been dying to meet you." Wait, why was this voice so familiar? When the girl stepped in front of me, we both stared in horror at each other and shrieked. It was Julia! "You're Free Prisoner? You're the freaking writer I have a crush on? You have a crush on me?" Julia looked insane. "Of course not. How could I have a crush on you? You're gonna pay for this, Bonnie. Now get out of my house." I was only too glad to. I couldn't believe the person I'd been friends with for months was crazy Julia. And by the next morning, I walked into the most horrific scene. The school hallways were full of posters of me. They read, "The White Witch Can't Be Trusted." Everyone in school knew the writer was me. Julia was going around telling everybody how I was a terrible person who wrote mean stories about her family and kids from school just to get popular. Why would we want to be friends with someone like her? She can't be trusted. She'll be writing all kinds of things about us. Freak! But even worse than everybody suddenly hating me at school, I was in so much trouble back home. My siblings were so mad about the stories I wrote about them. "We know we tease you, but we never thought you could be so mean." Guys, it's not like that. I never meant for anyone to know who those characters were. But they wouldn't listen to my protests and stopped talking to me. Later that night, Mom came to my room and asked me why I'd been writing these stories. I handed an envelope to her from my drawer. "I only wanted to help you out, Mom." She let out a cry when she saw the cash inside. "Bonnie, you're a kid. You don't need to worry about money. I'm not going to take this. How about we use it for your hair?" "Yeah, Mom. Let's do this, I guess." The next day, I decided to fix everything. I went up to the stage during morning assembly and nervously cleared my throat. I just wanted to say sorry to my siblings and anyone else who might have been hurt or offended by my stories. I only used you guys as inspiration, and you made such interesting characters. But it wasn't right of me to use anyone's secrets, and I won't be writing on Wattpad anymore. As I ran out of the auditorium, someone caught up with me. It was Eric. Hey, that writer is you? Oh man, your stories are hilarious! I wanted to ask you something a long time ago. Will you be my girlfriend? I grinned and pulled him in for a kiss. From the corner of my eye, I saw Julia storming off, and I followed her to the girls' bathroom. What do you want, freak? I just wanted to say, you and I have been friends for months online. We can actually get along. Why can't we be friends for real, Julia? She started to laugh. Friends? Oh, babe, how is that even possible? Look at your face, and your personality, and your ugly hair. I give charity to the poor. I don't befriend them. Well, look around you, Julia. I don't think you have any real friends. I'm here if you change your mind. And then I started to walk away. Don't hold your breath! Well, after that, things got a little better because my siblings forgave me, especially when they realized my stories hadn't affected their popularity one bit. I stopped writing and spent all my time with Eric, who asked me out to prom. That night, I went home with a big smile on my face. Mom was waiting for me to dye my hair, and then I said, "You know what, Mom? I like my white hair. I'm born to stand out. Why should I try so hard to fit in? It's cool to be different." Mom smiled and hugged me. I'm so proud of you, Bonnie. Next day, when Julia found out that Eric and I were nominated for prom king and queen, she completely lost it. She went too far. On the night of the prom, she started throwing a huge tantrum and even tried to snatch my crown. That's mine! I'm the only queen this school has. Not this ugly beggar with the ugliest hair I've ever seen. When the principal intervened, Julia called her an old hag and dumped the whole bowl of punch on her. An hour later, she was expelled. Even though so many of the others laughed, I felt sorry for her because I knew there was a nice person inside her. But all her insecurities just made her a big bully. After that, high school was not so crazy. I got a scholarship for a writing program, and 4 years later, I joined a publishing house as a book editor. Fast forward a few years, and I'm married to Eric now, with 2 beautiful kids. And they are the only ones I write stories for. Hi, I'm Jane, and I'm from New York City. And this is my story of how being short, like really short, leads me to have a unique, crazy life. So, I had a really crazy mother who was mad about shopping. Shoes, clothes, makeup, perfumes. She stopped at nothing. One day, when I was 2 years old, she left me at the mall because her hands were full of bags. Where's Jane? What? You took Jane with you while shopping, right? Where is she? Oh, my hands were full of bags. I might have just left her at the mall. Plus, she's too tiny and short for her age, so it's easy to forget her. Short and ugly. I wonder who she looks like. My dad was furious. I already knew your shopping was a problem, but this is the last straw! So he took me and left Mom for good. For a while, Dad and I lived happily in a small apartment. But when I was 8, Dad discovered that he didn't have much time to live, so he decided to leave me with his first wife. He took me to her huge mansion, hugged me really tightly, and left, and I never saw Dad again. Dad's first wife didn't have any children of her own. She was always dressed in black and never smiled. She looked just like a creepy widow, so I started calling her the widow. But there was no denying that the widow was rich. Practically everything in her house was made of gold, even the spoons. On the first day of my new school, the widow sent me off to school in a limo. And at school, the widow had the butler distribute free ice cream for a month so everyone would be nice to me. At first, it was crazy fun, but on my 10th birthday, even though I was surrounded by friends, I broke down into tears. I missed my parents so much. And then I noticed that no one brought any gifts for me. When I asked them why, some boy yelled, "Because we don't like you, you dwarf, and your breath smells bad." Suddenly, the widow showed up from behind him and put her hand on his mouth and dragged him away. What was going on? So, everyone in school liked me only because of the widow's money? One day, when my so-called best friend announced, "Hey girls, let's go get some ice cream. Jane's buying," I lost my cool. "No, I'm not. You want it? Go get it yourself. I'm not your debit card." "Look at this dwarf being so mean. It's not even your money, Jane. You're a charity case." They all angrily marched away, and after that, I was a loner. Not only that, it was really annoying that I never got picked during gym class, and I really wanted to play basketball. So one day, in 6th grade, I ran straight onto the court, snatched the ball from another kid, and started dribbling it away. I was small, but fast. Just then, the substitute gym teacher came running onto the court, blowing his whistle furiously. And next thing I knew, he had picked me up and was carrying me away. "We have a kindergartner on the loose. Don't you know you could seriously get hurt, kid?" He just wouldn't listen and took me to the principal. He sure looked dumb when the principal told him I was in the 6th grade, but I was still banned from playing. It was too dangerous for me. One day, when I was in 9th grade, right before my exam was about to start, my teacher came up to me and put her hand on my forehead. "Jane, dear, your mom said you aren't feeling well today. You can go home and rest." "But I'm not sick." "Yes, you are, sweetie. You have a horrible fever." And the teacher just dragged me out of the room. After the exams, when I looked at my report card, I was shocked. I got an A+ on an exam I didn't even write, and all the rest as well. The widow then threw a fancy party where she literally distributed money. Worst of all, the party was full of my teachers. Ugh, talk about boring. The only person at the party my age was Andrew from school, the son of one of the teachers. I always had a crush on him, and now he was making his way to me. My heart began to beat like crazy. I do, Andrew, I do. How does it feel to take something you don't deserve, just because you have money? Huh? What do you mean? Oh, come on. Everyone in class already guessed your mother bought those fake grades for you. Aren't you ashamed? How could you have possibly topped when everyone knows I'm the smartest? I never asked her to do it. She's not even my mom. It's not my fault. Yeah, your grades are better than your height. Dwarves can't be the smartest. I stood there, shocked, and I decided it was time for me to tell the widow to change. But she said that she didn't mean any harm. She just wanted to help me get into some college, as it was my dad's last wish. I begged her to let me do it on my own. Eventually, she agreed. Sadly, that didn't pan out as I'd planned. I wasn't doing well in school at all. And without the widow's money, the teachers weren't so nice anymore. Why is your handwriting so big when you're so short? Are you so bad at math because it's hard to understand things with your teeny tiny brain? I flunked horribly and was held back a grade. My ex-best friend smirked and said, "Keep flunking and you'll finally reach a grade that suits your height. Can you just leave me alone?" "Oh, I heard wearing a pink hat while studying helps your brain work because the brain likes the color pink. I tried it, but it didn't work. Guess I'm already a genius." Or that you don't have a brain. As I left for home that day, with angry tears in my eyes, I ran straight into someone. Andrew. "Hey, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" "Listen, just back off. I have enough troubles without you." But Andrew did not back off. The next few days, he really started chasing me all over school. There was just no escaping him. Wherever I went, there he was. "What's wrong with you? I'm trying to study. Stop stalking me." "I'm just worried about you. Let me help you with your grades." "Why? I appreciate it, but you really don't have to feel sorry for me." "I don't feel sorry. I understand you want to rely on yourself, and I respect that. I'm just offering to help, and also trying to make up for being a jerk." Well, I knew he was a math whiz. If anyone could help me, it was him. From that day onwards, every night, he snuck in from my window to help me study. But he was so distractingly cute and funny. We were becoming super close. The night before the exam, the door flew open and the widow barged in. She started yelling at me. "Boys ruin everything. This is probably why you don't get good grades. You're so distracted all the time." Then she dragged him to the window and told him to leave the way he came. "He isn't my boyfriend. He's my private teacher. He's helping me with math." But she wasn't listening. So Andrew climbed down the tree outside the window and left. The next day, I passed the exam and was over the moon. I ran to him and threw my arms around him. "I did it! I passed the math exam on my own!" Then, before I knew what I was doing, I kissed him. And what an utterly stupid thing to do that was! Because the minute our lips touched, he froze. I was so embarrassed. I let him go and stepped back. I'm so sorry." "Jane, I had no idea that you felt this way about me. I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong idea, but I was just looking out for you. You know, like a little sister. You're just not my type." "Wait, what?" I never felt so humiliated in my entire life. Without another word, I just turned around and fled. And that was my real first heartbreak. I refused to go down for dinner that evening and shut myself up in my room. A little later, the widow knocked and came in. "Do you want to tell me what's wrong, Jane?" I burst into tears and told her everything. "You were right. Boys ruin everything. From now on, I'm just going to focus on me. I'm going to get a university scholarship and leave this stupid place." And for the first time ever, the widow hugged me. It was really awkward, but also kind of nice. "I'll send you to any university you want. You just focus on studying really hard." And that's what I did. I really focused on my lessons. And at home, the widow started to help me out too. She also had her chef make me really healthy food and gave me multivitamins regularly. She helped me out with all my college applications, and for the first time since Dad, I felt like I did have a parent. As I was about to graduate high school, our student counselor called me one day to her office to give me some really amazing news. You got into your dream university, Jane! Congratulations! I squealed in excitement and hugged her. In my excitement, I knocked over my bag, and my bottle of vitamins fell out. Just then, the counselor picked up one of the pills, looking confused. Jane, why are you eating these? Oh, they're just multivitamins. No, they're not, Jane. These pills are given to kids with ADHD to improve focus. No one should be taking these unless a doctor prescribes them. I couldn't believe it. Why would the widow do this? I rushed home and barged straight into her room, throwing the pills on her bed. Why have you been lying to me that these are vitamins? Why are you feeding me pills I don't need? Are you trying to poison me? The widow looked stunned. Then she said, Jane, just let me explain. I was only trying to help you get better. Oh, so you thought I'm so dumb that I needed pills to make me smarter? I only want what's best for you, Jane. That's all I ever wanted. And then I said the words I would regret for the rest of my life. Well, in case you forgot, let me remind you, you're not my mom. You're just a pathetic old widow, and you don't deserve to have kids. And with that, I stormed off to my room. I didn't speak a word to her for the next few weeks, and then I left for university. I felt bad for the things I'd said, but I was too angry to take them back. I was doing really well at university. I met a wonderful guy, Dave. He was the only person I'd ever met who didn't treat me like I was dumb, and he never made me feel little in any way. One day, while we were on a date, I got a terrible phone call. It was a doctor from some hospital saying the widow had been found unconscious in her home and was really unwell. Dave drove me straight to the hospital, and when I went to her, it broke my heart seeing her so pale and weak. I sat down by her and started to cry. Please be okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean those awful things I said. I love you. You're my mom. Just then, her eyes fluttered open. She gave me a weak smile. Jane, I'm so glad you're here, dear. I'm sorry, too. You were always so tiny. I became really overprotective. I see now that you didn't need that at all. I moved back with Mom to take care of her, and soon she fully recovered. I graduated with honors from university, and I was so happy she could be there. After university, Dave and I got married and had 2 beautiful kids together. We named our son after my dad, and our little girl after the widow, her godmother.